Well, let's learn some more about compound interest. When capital P dollars are invested at an annual interest rate little r, and the interest is compounded annually, which means once per year, the amount A, or the future value, would be what at the end of year one, or at the end of 1 year? Well, you started off with P, and then at the end of the year, you get R percent added to it. So I'm not just going to put R here, I'm going to put 1 plus R. And that's it. So, for example, if R were 10%, 1 plus 10%, 1 plus 0.1 would be 1.1 times the original amount. And then if we went to, instead of the end of 1 year, we went to the end of T years, one minor change, 1 plus R. But how many times was this compound interest added in? In other words, how many times do we have to do this multiplication? T times. Simple as that. I mean, if you wanted to, we usually don't, an implied exponent of 1 is there. We could put 1 there. At the end of 1 year, it's this. At the end of 2 years, we would turn that into a 2. It almost looks like a 2. I better make it a 1. And at the end of T years, it's P times 1 plus R raised to the T power. Now, if the interest rate R on your bank account is 8%, so sometimes I'll write R equals 0.08, compounded quarterly, and we know what quarterly means. That means it's compounded every 4th of a year. So it's compounded 4 times each year. Well, if it's compounded 4 times each year, how many months would that be? That means it would be every 3 months. 3 months is a quarter or 4th of a year. So every 3 months, your bank account is going to increase by how much? What percent of your current bank balance? It certainly won't be 8%. 8% is for the whole year. So if the whole year was 8%, and we're dividing it into 4 times evenly, that means we'd have to have 2% there, 2% there, 2% there, 2% there for the full year. So every quarter of a year, you would add 2% to the bank balance. All right, so instead of doing it one time at the end of the year and multiplying by 0.08 to find 8% for the interest, we're going to put 2% interest here, 2% here, 2% here, 2% here. Okay, suppose the bank pays you interest M times per year. In the previous example, it was 4 times per year. The periodic interest rate, little I, not the annual interest rate, the periodic interest rate, is the percent of your balance that is added to your account at each one of those, at the end of each one of those M time periods. So little I represents the number 2 here, 2%. And how did we get that 2%? Well, we got it from 8% divided by 4 times per year. So for the formula in the previous problem, I'm going to write down the fraction that we used. We said I is 0.08, 8% divided by 4, because it's 4 times per year. And that comes out to be 0.02, or 2%. All right, now let's come up with a general formula for that I. Given the annual interest rate, little r, that's what we always use for the annual interest rate, with interest compounded M times per year, it could be 4 like in the previous example, but maybe it's 1, maybe it's 2. Maybe it's 12. If it's compounded m times per year, then the periodic interest rate I is computed by the annual interest rate divided by m, the number of times it's compounded. Once again, we had in this previous example, these 2% values came from 0.08, this 0.08, divided by the number of times per year that it's compounded. It was 4 times per year.